Hi, this is Francine Tone at Front Porch, and no, this is not my front porch because it is so windy outside. Everything was getting blown off my porch, so I decided to come inside to do today's video. So, ever think to yourself or say, I don't have enough time. There's not enough time in the day. If only I could clone myself, things would be so much better. How can I get all this work done? One time, one of my clients told me he hated being late for court, but he felt like he was always rushing to get there on time. And when he was in traffic, he would start getting anxious because if there was any glitch in traffic, he would feel like he was going to be there late. And he was so afraid of walking in after court had already started. Another one of my clients told me that she often ran late for meetings and hated it. And often this happened because she would schedule some kind of work that she had to get done, and she had scheduled the work, but it took longer than she had anticipated, and she had to get it done before she went to the meeting. So she would show up at the meeting late. And then throughout the whole meeting, she would feel uncomfortable and self-conscious because she started out with it being late. Once I was working with the legal secretary, and she said she hated getting phone calls during a time when the lawyer said he was going to be back, but he wasn't back. And she felt like she was making excuses for the lawyer. I mean, she wanted to cover for the lawyer, but she felt like she was making excuses and sometimes lying to cover up the fact that the lawyer had not returned when he said he was going to return. You know, lawyers were busy, and we have lots of important things to do all the time. And it feels like there's just so much we can't get it done in a day. And when we overschedule ourselves, we are not doing ourselves any favor. We suffer, our clients suffer, everybody we work with suffers, our staff suffers. Is there a better way? The answer is yes, there is a better way. So I advocate and I get my clients to start under-scheduling every single week. And this is how it works. First, let's get rid of the notion that you have to schedule every minute and every second of your day in order to be productive. This is going to sound a little counterintuitive, but this scheduling every minute, every second isn't working anyway. So let's just get rid of that notion right away. When was the last time you scheduled 1.5 hours to get points and authorities done and you were done at 1.5 hours? Maybe you got lucky and you got done in 1.3 hours and you grabbed some time out of that. But usually everything takes longer and you spent 2 hours and now you're behind schedule. Or when was the last time you had a meeting with the client and you had allotted 15 minutes to meet with this client because it was just a small meeting. And then right when you're about to wrap it up, the client asks you another question. What, you tell the client your time's up, you're out of here? No, you answer the question for the client and now you're behind. Almost everything takes longer than you thought. So instead of trying to schedule every second and every minute, let's leave some breathing room for reality, for what really happens in our day-to-day lives, Monday through Friday or Saturday if you're working 6 days a week. So this is what I do. On Sunday afternoon or evening, I take a look at my entire calendar and I pull out a weekly planner on what I'm going to do for the next week. And I first look at all my events that can't be changed. So this would be court appearances, meetings that have been scheduled, lunch dates and dinner dates. I include those, all of the events on my calendar. And then I look at my workload and I look and see what are my deadlines for that week and even the following week, just so that I have kind of a 30,000 foot view of my workload. And then I go through my to-do list, because we all have a to-do list, and I shrink it. Now, if you haven't watched my video on shrinking your to-do list, there's a link for it right up here. Go watch that video so you can shrink that to-do list. And once I've shrunken my to-do list, what I have on my list are the big, urgent, and important items that I need to get to probably early in the week and get those done. Now, the next thing I look at are the kinds of things that they're important but not that urgent, and so I can schedule them out towards the latter part of the week. And I plot them out on my week so that I know what it is that I'm going to do. Now, out of those big things that I'm trying to accomplish, especially early in the week, I try to schedule no more than 3, sometimes only 2 or 1, depending on what it is, on a given day. And I just lay out the things that are important but not urgent out later in the week. And again, I try not to overschedule too many things on a given day. when I'm done, there's plenty of room. I leave lots of space in my schedule for, those fires that happen every week. How many fires on average show up in a week in a law office? Or how much time does it take to put those fires out completely? And if you don't, how much does it throw you off your schedule? A lot. Or let's say a new client calls and you want to spend some time. Well, if you're scheduled out completely, how can you possibly schedule time to meet with this new client until next week? And then you're in the same boat as this week. So let's get that client in so you get that new client, get that new case. Don't put it out a week, because if they're impatient, they're going to call somebody else. Because there are these open areas in my schedule, I don't have to worry about being late for court or being late for meetings, because those came first. So if I have a meeting at 10 o'clock, I'm not going to put something to do at between 8 and 10 o'clock that might take 3 or 4 hours to do. I will do other things during that time. And if I've got an appointment at 2 o'clock in the afternoon from noon to 2, I'm not going to schedule something that might take 3 or 4 hours either. So I plot it out in the day, making sure that there's breathing room between events and between projects. By not overscheduling, you actually have time that you need for the projects without holding your breath. Have you ever done that? It's not necessarily actually holding your breath, but that shallow breathing that actually is practically has the effect of holding your breath. Now you can make haste slowly, which is more productive than being harried and hurried going from one thing to the other. Because now you can be deliberate in everything you do. You can operate with purpose. You have time to think critically and creatively, which is what we need to do to solve problems. You have time to look out your window and ponder that problem that you're trying to solve. Much of being a lawyer is about this thinking and considering and being thoughtful in what we do. It's not about pushing papers around and running around town. But if you're overscheduled, you won't have the adequate time to ponder and tap into those creative thinking skills in order to solve problems. Underscheduling gets rid of that feeling like you don't have time in the day, you don't have enough time, that you need to clone yourself. It gets rid of that urgent feeling of, I've got so much to do. And you'll be on time for your date with your spouse or your kid's soccer game, because you will actually have time for them. So do yourselves, your clients, your family, and your staff a big favor and start under-scheduling your work for the week. And I'll see you back here on Front Porch Lawyer, hopefully next time on my front porch.